Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my review for Smallville Season 6. Been a little while since I delved into Smallville, been very busy, what with 31 on 31. But yeah, I've managed to squeeze Season 6 in just recently and I thought I'd give you my thoughts for those who care. Season 6, my memories of it before going back into it, because as we get into the later seasons now, these are the ones that I've seen less, like seasons 1 to 4, I've seen an awful lot. Once we got into season 5, my memories in that were a little bit hazy. Season 5 turned out to be so much better than I actually remembered it, to the point where actually it's kind of become my favourite season up to this point, which is, yeah, surprises me more than anyone. But yeah, season 6 I remember liking even less than season 5 based on memory. And once again, I don't know if it's just watching these in succession rather than over a period of years. It's a lot better, a much better season than I remember it being. A lot of strong stuff about it. It has its faults, like every season, but overall, very good. Now we get a new edition with Justin Hartley's Green Arrow. This is the season in which he enters the fray, starts putting the Justice League together. I've always been a bit more of a fan of Justin Hartley's portrayal of Green Arrow than I have of Stephen Amell's Green Arrow. Now I like Amell. I like him a lot in the role, and I think physically he brings a lot more to that character than Justin Hartley does, because obviously he does a lot of his own stunt work. He's a very physical actor. But just from the charisma side of things and the playboy kind of side of things, I feel like Justin Hartley, I prefer what he brings to it, to be honest. If you could match Amell's physicality with Hartley's charisma, then I think, yeah, you got the top-notch Green Arrow there. What Green Arrow brings to this season really is he shakes things up for Clark. So he starts to get Clark to really confront the notion of who he is and his responsibility, I guess. You know, he's got all this power and he's still kind of hiding away on this farm, looking after the people closest to him. And what Oliver Queen here in this season does is he forces Clark to confront that and to look at the bigger picture and to start thinking, well, actually, how can I use my powers on a more broader canvas? So it really starts to get him to look a bit more at accepting his destiny, which of course is an element of the show that is really starting to get dragged out now. They're really dragging the heels with it. But I do like that Oliver Queen is an instigator in that. He's someone who, you know, pushes Clark forward in that regard. I mean, it's a shame it's going to take another 4 seasons after this for him to actually fulfill that destiny. But hey ho, seeds are being sown. But no, I like Hartley. I like him in the role. He's not in every episode in this season. I think they got him for like a half-season contract or something. So he sporadically appears. I think he's kind of first half of the season heavy, and I do like a lot of the episodes he's in. One of my favourite episodes of this season is Reunion, in which we see flashbacks to Lex and Oliver's childhood at Excelsior and what it is that made them kind of have a lot of animosity together. It sheds a lot of light on both characters. And I do like the fact that at the end the two of them come to blows. And yeah, it's when two characters that are, you know, fully established on the show, when they come to blows like that, it always has a bit more heft, a bit more weight than, say, just the villain of the week coming in. It feels a bit more at stake there. But I like what, you know, both of those actors in that episode really sell it to me, and the journey that Lex has to go on of, you know, this man really tortured by guilt and kind of pushing it down, not accepting it, saying no to that guilt, is, yeah, again, Lex across this season actually goes super dark. You know, we saw in season 5 the start of that, where he'd really kind of started to embrace the dark side. In this season, he's pretty much full on Lex Luthor. The Lex Luthor we kind of know from the comic books. He's become a total megalomaniac. He's in total pursuit of power, even though he does try and justify himself on many occasions. But there are times in this season where he's responsible for killing many people, or responsible for the lives of many people being taken, and he just doesn't really think much of it. It's all in the name of furthering whatever research he's doing, and this, that, and the other. I think about the episode Prototype, when he's trying to get this super soldier program going, and he thinks nothing of having his own men be wiped out, and just for the sake of a test run, and then deciding to do it for a second one. So yeah, Lex is full on Lex in this, and he does his most despicable work through this season as well, which is the impregnation of Lana, which actually turns out to be a fake pregnancy, which was all part of a plan to get her to marry him. So we learn that the baby that she has is actually doesn't exist. He did it, set it all up to make her, well, to give her no way out, really. If she thinks that she's having a baby with this man, then she's going to commit more. She's going to try and make the relationship work. Whereas if that baby wasn't there, if it wasn't this kind of anchor keeping her in that relationship, she would certainly have second thoughts, and maybe definitely think about going somewhere else and leaving him, which obviously towards the end of the season she does. So I think that also, again, as a carryover from season 5, in which I thought personally was Lana's strongest season, I think here too she has a pretty strong season throughout most of its run. I think towards the end of the season, that's when she starts to get into Lana that I lose focus with, I guess. I just there comes a point towards the end of this season where she, I think, needlessly throws herself down on the chopping block for the sake of being noble, and I feel it's unnecessary. I feel like she makes this sacrifice that is a completely unnecessary sacrifice. When Clark doesn't tell people about his powers in order to keep them safe, because if people find out, then the people closest to him can be used as pawns and things in other people's games. I get that. I understand that. That makes a certain level of sense. Maybe not to the degree that Clark has taken it, because you get so far and there's only so long you can drag that out for. But I understand it. Whereas with Lana, she learns Clark's secret, and then she's threatened by Lionel, and I just feel like actually knowing Clark's secret, knowing the powers he has, she could do herself and Clark a hell of a lot of favours by just coming clean with him and saying, look, Lionel's threatening me with something, this is the sitch, let's work this out together. I know you're powerful, I know you've got these powers, here's a heads up, somebody is holding this over me, and it's just like, I feel like instead, by going through with the marriage, by not getting together with Clark, by not telling him the truth, despite the fact that she's given us so many lectures about keeping secrets and this, that and the other, I feel like she actually does him more harm, does him more of a disservice, and puts herself in a more dangerous position as a result. So I don't really buy her reasons for it. I think they're stupid. I think they're a bit silly. And when she dies at the end of the season, unfortunately, even when I watched this way back in the day for the first time, I didn't believe for a second that she died, to be honest. Not one bit. Which was a shame, because I actually at that point would have thought, yes, get rid, go on, bye. But like I said, up until those last few episodes, she has a pretty strong season. It's mainly because of that whole pregnant kind of storyline, being pregnant, finding out that actually she's not pregnant, finding out that, and then having Lionel kind of manipulating her, and she's been in this really dark place. What's she going to do? I thought all that stuff was really good for her as a storyline. They give them a lot more to do in seasons 5 and 6. But I think they lose it a bit towards the end. Clark himself has a really tough year in this season. Basically everything goes against him. The woman he loves is now with the man that he hates. And yeah, all his friends are kind of doing their own things. You've got Chloe, who's now with Jimmy, another character that is introduced this season, who I'm not that fond of, it must be said. I find him to be a bit weak. I find him to be a bit clingy. I don't particularly like his personality, and I feel like they bring him in at the most inopportune moment. Obviously, Clark shares a kiss with Chloe in the last episode of season 5, which for all us fans of that relationship were kind of like, oh, what's going to happen here? And basically nothing happens. She gets with Jimmy, and then the rest of the season they don't really address that kiss in any kind of satisfying way, and it's just, it's gone. But part of that as well is that, again, Clark is now kind of having to share his closest confidant with someone who is also now jealous of him. Jimmy gets very jealous of Clark, and this, that, and the other. So yeah, Clark doesn't have the best year this year. He's also chasing down zoners from the Phantom Zone, who often are more powerful or just as powerful as he is. I think of the episode Titan, in which he goes up against this phantom called Titan, who's very powerful. A great epic fight scene. But he's on hard times this season, and I'm hoping for more positivity for him in season 7. I've seen season 7, so I know already whether that hope will be seen to or not. But the showrunners, they do a good job of making us really feel for Clark this year. I think for the first 2/3 of this season, Lois has done a bit of a disservice, if I'm being honest. I really love Erica Durance as Lois. When she was introduced in season 4, she was a real breath of fresh air, and I like her verbal sparring with Clark through her moments in season 5 and whatnot. I feel like in season 6 they don't quite know what to do with her. She's this little kind of hanging thread, because we've still got Lana, who is Clark's kind of love obsession, and we've still got Chloe, who is like his best friend and confidant. So she's a third wheel. We've got Lois, who is reduced to this third wheel, and it does come from this aspect of the show where actually they either introduced her too soon, or they didn't get rid of Lana soon enough. And I think we all know which is the answer in that equation. They brought her in season 4, and then this is the woman that Clark is destined to be with. We as people who know the Superman lore, if we're watching, even people who've never read a Superman comic book know that Lois Lane is the one who gets with Clark. She's now left hanging, and they have to give her things to do until they can eventually get rid of Lana and make their relationship the focus. And given that they don't seem to be showing any signs of getting rid of Lana, like I say, Lois then suffers from this kind of third wheel place that she's in, and as a result they give her this relationship with Oliver, which I never fully believe in or buy, again, because like I say, we know that this isn't the man she's destined to be with, and she feels a bit clingy when she's with him, a bit kind of too, a bit too CW, I guess, too kind of romantically driven, and it makes her character not be the character that I kind of feel like I know and love. It weakens her to some degree. That relationship that she has with Oliver, whereas I feel that the relationship she has with Clark, when it's on point, strengthens both of them. they are their best versions of themselves when they're together, when they're bouncing off of each other, because they can be honest, they can fling arrows at each other and yet still, still kind of love each other. But because they're not quite there yet with the love, she's a third wheel. So yeah, disservice to her. I think she starts to get a few good moments towards the end of the season. Again, the episode prototype, when she has this kind of connection to this man that Lex has used for this experiment. And I also think that the climax of this season, the last episode, is a fantastic episode, really fantastic climax. People seem to be dying left, right and centre. It kind of reminds me of the finale to season 3, when like loads of main characters seem to be getting taken out. And I gotta say that the scene where Chloe appears to give up her life for Lois, her meteor freak power is kind of revealed and Chloe dies. I remember back when I saw this originally, I was certain that was it, because in this episode they kill Chloe, they kill Lana. I mean, first they kill Lois. So I'm like, they're killing all these people left, right and centre. Chloe has gone in order to bring Lois back. Lana's gone. I'm pretty sure she's not, though, like even back when I watched it. So the Chloe death to me felt, oh, this is it. They're actually going to kill Chloe here. And it has a real weight to it. And even watching it now, and I think this is completely down to Alison Mack's performance. When she finds Lois and she's over her dead body and she's crying, she brings her A game, and you feel like she's treating this as an actress. She's treating this like it is her last scene. And I don't know if she knew whether she was coming back or not, or whether she was expecting this to be it. But she certainly plays it like it is her last moment, and it's a brilliant piece of acting. It's a very well written scene and whatnot, and reveal of that power. And like I say, when I watched it, I honestly thought this was it for Chloe. Knowing that she isn't a character from the comic books, knowing that actually she could be expendable, if the showrunners decided. And I thought that, yeah, this tragedy kind of frees Lois up to take on the mantle at the Daily Planet, that is left behind by Chloe. So in some respects, as much as I love Chloe and as much as I would hate for her character to be gone from the show, because she is a shining light, I think that this would have been a great way to go out. It really would have. It really would have been a great way to go out and free Lois up to be the Lois that we know from the comic books, taking over that solitary role at the Daily Planet, rather than having both Chloe and Lois there. We'll get into season 7 when we get into season 7, but spoiler, yeah, Chloe ain't dead. But as a final episode, back when it aired, it was a killer. It was a really great episode, real emotional gut punch, and very well orchestrated and directed. Another highlight of this season is the episode Justice, in which Oliver Queen first gets together the Justice League, which is the first time that we've ever seen that on screen in live action. It's the original Justice League TV version. So yeah, he's Arrow himself, Green Arrow, Cyborg, Aquaman, the Impulse, and then obviously Clark, kind of reluctantly at first, but then quite happily joining the fray. And it's a great episode. It's not thematically rich as far as episodes go, in the way that Reunion is, but just as a 45-minute blast of action-packed fun and seeing really cool moments of having all these characters together for the first time on screen. It's it's tremendous, you know, and it's, I think if you watch it now, if you've never seen Smallville and if you come to the episode Justice, having seen shows like Arrow and Supergirl and The Flash, then it probably may seem a bit, you know, whatever. But it's you know, as somebody who was there when this episode aired, when this series was first on the air, this was a big deal. You know, that episode was a big deal, and you know, Smallville really did begin something that Arrow and the Arrowverse then kind of took and run with, and was able to run with once certain rights and that were kind of let go. So yeah, great stuff. Martha seems to take a bit more of a back seat in this season. Obviously, we lost Jonathan last season, and Martha has now kind of gone to be a senator and whatnot. And it's just, yeah, she pops up every now and again, dropping little pearls of wisdom for Clark and stuff. And when she does pop up, it does make me miss her. You know, she was such a strong presence. Her and Jonathan Kent were always such a strong presence in Clark's life. And I feel like with this season, they've kind of made Clark be a bit more of a loner. Yeah, she's gone off to do her thing, popping up every now and again. And you do feel that. And I think that's intentional, because you're meant to identify with Clark and the world that he's in right now, which is a lonely place. I think I'm most drawn to Clark's arc, to be honest, in this season. Seeing him go it alone, seeing the trials he's got to face and whatnot, whereas normally it's usually Lex that I'm most drawn to. I usually find that Lex has the most compelling arc across a season. I still think he has a very good arc, this one, across this season. There's, you know, seeing him kind of doing what he's doing with Lana and how that all unfolds. I remember the first time I watched this season, it didn't quite make sense, and I think that comes from just watching it in parts, you know, on a week by week basis. But watching it now on DVD, where you get to just binge watch it, it all fits into place a lot more. It makes more sense. You know, basically his plans, everything he's doing, and dare I say, I still even feel a little bit of sympathy towards him at times. You know, I do get the sense that he loves Lana. You know, I do get the sense that he manipulates her and traps her in this marriage because he believes that he's right for her and he believes that she's right for him. So he's controlling. He wants to control the situation. He wants to make sure that what he thinks should happen will happen. But as a result of that, he's not loving. He doesn't know how to love. He loves in the sense that he genuinely loves her, but he doesn't know how to love. And there's a difference, you know. We can look at something and think, you know, or someone and think, I love them, I have feelings for them, I want the best for them. But if you don't know how to love, if you don't know how to go about that and be honest and, you know, and truly sacrifice yourself for that other person, which he doesn't know how to do, then you end up in the mess that Lex ends up in during this season. And he makes all the wrong choices. And as a result, that damages Lana, pushes her away, and makes her hate him. You know, as heinous as some of the things are that he does, there are moments of sympathy that I feel towards him. And I think that just comes out of the tragedy of who he is as a person. Just the fact that he can never quite grasp those concepts of love and utilise them in the proper way. And that to me is really, really tragic. So overall, season 6 really does turn out to be a very good season once again. You know, totting up my averages for all the scores for each episode. I will give this season a 4.3 out of 5. It's actually 4.27, but I'm going to round it up to a 4.3. So yeah, 4.3 out of 5 for me for this season. A lot of very strong episodes in it. A few really weak ones as well, but much less so than I remember it being, which fills me with hope, I guess, for season 7, because it's worth stating up front now, before we get to season 7. I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, to be honest, because I've got a lot to do on my channel within the next 2 months. But season 7 for me, just going off memory, just going off my experience watching it way back when, was easily the worst season. It was the low point for me personally. I don't know, that might change. You know, season 5 and 6, I don't remember them being as good as they've turned out to be, but they are 2 of the best seasons now, you know, the scores that I've given for them. So, yeah, who knows? Looking forward to season 7. We'll get there when we get there. But what are your thoughts on season 6? I've given you mine. I want to hear yours. Put them in the comment section down below. Let me know what your favourite episodes from this season were. Let me know what your worst are, and we'll have a discussion. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, cracking.